Creativity podcast. I'm your host, Mari Reesberg. Over the past several years, I've combined my degrees in acting and somatic psychology to share my sustaining creativity techniques with performers. And now I've decided to share it with a bigger audience that includes you. I believe we are all creative, and this podcast is all about that. I'll be interviewing people from all backgrounds, ages, and creativity experiences to share just how creative we all are. Today, I'll be chatting with the question mark guy, Matthew Lesko. Please enjoy the question mark guy, Matthew Lesko. Welcome to the Sustaining Creativity podcast. Today, I am chatting with a truly one-of-a-kind guest, Matthew Lesko. You might recognize him from as the question mark guy and from unforgettable infomercials and TV appearances. But I'm going to let him share a little bit more about the nuance of who he is. So welcome, Matthew, to the Sustaining Creativity podcast. Thanks for being here. I'm excited to
My
chat.
pleasure. Well, nuance. I wonder where that word comes. It's new, but it's antsy new. Anyway, that's a
Exactly.
weird. I can't spell for beans. I have 2 New York Times bestsellers, and I flunked every English class I took. When my first book made the New York Times bestsellers, I tried to call that English teacher who flunked me.
Just to let him know.
Right. See, I told you it didn't matter.
I love it. Oh my goodness. Well, I am super thrilled to have you joining me today to chat about creativity.
Creativity, I think that is the most important thing in our fucking lives. And people all want to be like everybody else. It's just the most stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. But I didn't at the beginning, going through the fucking system. Man, you're not none of that. Like I guess that's why you wound up in the arts, because that's the only place that sort of at least talks about it.
Yeah, well, talks about it more formally, I guess. I think
exactly.
In other arenas, we use a lot of creativity, but we don't talk about it.
No, and well, we're forced to use it, or the smart people use it. The other people are trained not to, because most classes are said, don't be creative. That was my problem at school. I kept being thrown out of schools, and I wasn't mischievous or anything. I was just bored out of my mind.
Yeah. I mean, the larger than life experience that you have, how did you come to be you? Why don't you tell us a little history?
By failing at everything else people said I should be. Thank God I failed. That's what it is. I mean, okay, you don't know what to do. None of us do. And we go to people who are supposedly smart, and they're telling you what to do, but they don't know what to do in their own life either. That's the
valid
secret.
Point. Yeah.
So what gives them the audacity to tell somebody else what to do with their life? Is just the stupidest thing in the world, because we all struggle so hard, and they're struggling too. So can't they realize that, that people who don't know what to do with their life, they need to be loved, not being lectured to about what they're taught to do with their life, because they're trying it, and they're trying to find out what's inside them, so they could give it. See, to me, creativity, if you find out what you're creative at, you're going to explode your life so much, because then you have something special to give. You have something nobody else could give, because this is specially given to you, whatever your creativity is. And then you never work again for the rest of your life, because you're doing something you love to do.
Yeah.
So if you're doing something you love to do, then works out. Like, to me, I grew up, you were at 65, you retired to Florida and played golf for the rest of your life. And I said, shit, man, I have to work somewhere I don't like, so I could grow up and get old and do something I'm shitty at for the rest of my life. That just sounded absurd. Why? No. If you have a talent or whatever, find that talent and grow that. Because, see, also your creativity is really taking your talent. That's the hard part, finding out what your talent is.
Yeah.
Because we all have it different. And if you're not, that's why I said when we, before we went on, that I envied you starting as an artist or singer or whatever. At
Mm-hmm.
least you knew what that was. See, the
Mm,
rest of us don't,
mm-hmm.
and we have to figure it out.
Yeah.
But once you do, then see, you could give that as hard as possible. You could
Mm.
work. You want. I mean, see, life was talking about don't work hard. Want an easy job. That's stupid.
Mm.
You're a human being. You want to grow. You want to work, and you grow by doing things that are hard, not difficult.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just so stupid how we live because we're not encouraged to do that. Because then you're a pain in the ass of trying to find something that's right for you.
Well, how did you find what was right for you? What was that
Yeah,
journey?
because I really was so upset that everything I was told to do, I tried to do, got an MBA and all this kind of stuff, and I was failing. I said,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh my God, I'm doing everything people told me I was going to do, and I was doing, and I didn't really enjoy doing. I was doing it because somebody said, 'Hey, you made a lot of money or succeed or whatever the fuck
Mm-hmm.
the things are,' and they weren't working. So I'm having a lousy time. Nothing's working. I'm failing anyway." And I'm doing all this because someday, 30 years from now, I'm going to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Yeah.
This sounds like a stupid way to spend 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, I got to turn this around. And
Mm-hmm.
so I'm trying to be happy today because whether I'm successful or not is a crapshoot. You don't fucking
Sure.
know that. Yeah. And the only way you are successful, I think, is with your heart. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
I think now. It's not knowing something, it's knowing what's in your heart. Because some
Mm-hmm.
people tell you, you do this and sex, yeah, but that maybe work for them. It won't work for you.
Yeah.
Because we're all different human beings, and you have to find out what works for you, and then you could give it as hard as you want, or a hard, and you want to play hard. And otherwise, everybody wants to play basketball against a 5-year-old, and win all the time.
Yeah.
Why the hell do you want to do that with your life? You
Good
know?
question. Well, what did you put your heart into that isn't work, that is your joy, that you
Yeah. Well,
love to do
it
every
takes a
day?
while to stumble along.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to know what to do. The only question you have to know is what you're doing now right?
Hmm. Okay.
You can't possibly know what it should be. That
Fair.
is impossible.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to get out of the fucking place you are now.
Any way you can. Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
And take any kind of small step away
Mm.
from that.
Mm-hmm.
It's sort of like a bad relationship. You're in there, he only beats me on the weekends, or it's not bad.
My goodness. Fair. Yeah. But
And you put up with it and you don't
Mhm.
have to. You shouldn't. Because
Mm.
I think our obligation in life is to give to the rest of us as much as you have.
Mm.
It's
Mm-hmm.
sort of like love.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want to love a little bit or just on the weekdays. You want to pour your heart out, man. You want to love as hard as you can. You know,
Mm.
and the only way you could do that is from your heart, not from some spreadsheet that tells you this is a good idea.
Yeah. Well, what inspires you to love with all of your heart?
Because I mean, it takes a while. I mean, it doesn't come easily because we're not trained like that or anything.
Mm-hmm.
And it's failure and getting little successes along the way. That's what it is. So you have
Mm-hmm.
to bite the bullet, get out, and just try stuff you don't know what to try. You just take the best shit in front of you, try that. If it doesn't work, then again, get out of there. But you
Mm.
learn from that. And it is all about failure. And that's why I want to be success. No, you want to go out and fail because you don't know what the fuck to do yet. And we have to create that ourselves. We're all artists in our life. It's a
Yeah.
blank piece of paper. And yeah, what are you going to draw a picture of your castle on the hill with you in front of it? No, you don't know what's going to happen in life. And so
Mm-hmm.
you throw some paint on the canvas, see what that looks like, put another stroke on the canvas and see what that, and all
Mm-hmm.
that evolves. So there's no final picture. You make that as you're going through life, and that's the fun of life.
Mm-hmm.
But we all, oh, I be a doctor, then blah, 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 blah. Then it's all
Yeah.
over. And that's not fair, but I think you get the point. And so I think, and see what about my work was, and when I started living like that, I wanted to express that to people, to encourage people to do that, which is very
Mm-hmm.
difficult. But when I found these resources, I said, I didn't want to be the person, like Tony Robbins and these people. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
just do it,
Mm-hmm.
man. And I believe that people need that, but I didn't want to shove them out the door, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And now what? See, what I
Yeah.
enjoy doing is I could show you a free government money program for you to do anything you fucking want to do with life and solve any financial problem. Now that to me is wow. That's
Mm.
going to the circus now.
Yeah.
That's really something to help people with, because I
Mm-hmm.
think within all of us, I think it's all about giving. I mean,
Mm.
it isn't in a capitalist society, but
Sure.
but if you look in your heart, you'll
Mm-hmm.
see that. And so, how do you give as much as possible, and to feel the joy or comfort? I mean, I
Mm.
grew up in a society, man. I'm 81 years old. So when I grew up in the 50s and 60s, men didn't say love unless they got married.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
As in, and now I try to use it so much because
Mm.
even saying the word, at least from my background, opens my heart somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Just that. And how do you live with an open heart?
Mm.
So you're able to enjoy and appreciate all
Mm-hmm.
the stuff that's so great in life and that other people can give you. And that,
Yeah.
I think, is open heart, and not with everybody's trying to fuck me over, attitude.
True. So how do you live your life with an open heart?
You don't look for anyone to help you do that. You have
Mm-hmm.
to do it yourself. You can't count on anyone to help you do that. You're in control of your own life.
Mm-hmm.
And even if, like, you vote for somebody that's ruining the world, well, and you're really pissed off, but don't let them ruin your life.
Mm-hmm.
You have to go on, good and bad. You're going to have good and bad no matter what you're doing. Yeah, it is hard. I mean, it just, boy, and even maybe like the last four, well, actually, it becomes easier at my age because, particularly as a male in our society, at least the way I grew up, guys have to get stronger, faster, smarter,
Mm-hmm.
and that was your life. Well, at 81, none of that shit's going to get better.
That's not your life at the moment. Yeah.
Right. And so but what can I work on to get better? I'm just trying to stay afloat doing the other things. But I could love better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love harder. I could love better. Fuck you. I can't get better.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
that's one thing you could keep growing.
yeah, absolutely. Keep
And
understanding love and sharing it and
right,
expressing it
exactly.
and
Right.
absolutely.
And because if you say it, it comes, I mean, you get weird shit. Sort of like my clothes. When I started wearing this, sure, a lot of people think I'm an asshole. But if you didn't like it, then it's we're saving each other a lot of time because this is who
Yeah.
I am.
There you go. For our listeners who can't see, Matthew is wearing a
Oh,
suit
you have a
covered in
blind community?
hearts. I do. No, I have
No,
all my listeners out
thanks for
there.
getting the go joke, though.
Yes. But I mean, it makes so much sense to, there is this creative expression of self that
Right,
you bring wherever you go because of how you choose to show up.
right. No, at the beginning, whenever I started this, maybe 30, 40 years ago, something, I remember walking through the airport, my first question mark, so every step was like walking on a carton of eggs, worrying I'm going to break things.
Oh,
I lost millions of dollars too. They threw me off of home shopping.
oh my
I'd go
goodness.
down home shopping and sell 30,000 books in a day. A question mark suit? No, we can't have that. We're serious business here. Fuck, you're selling to people in trailers all over the country and think you're Neiman Marcus.
Yeah, little reality check
Right.
there.
Uh, yeah, and that was, and a lot of people wouldn't have me on shows anymore. Can't have a financial expert dressed like a clown.
Yeah, that is so interesting how people's perception and appearance of someone negates the knowledge they have.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And well, I think our society is pretty good at doing that.
Yeah.
It may not be question mark suits, it could be color, it could be background, could be
Yeah.
any. So it's
So many
yeah,
things.
yeah. So it is, but it's been fun. It's not over yet. Yeah, I'm having more fun now than I've ever had. Uh,
I
I
love
swear to God.
it.
I mean, if I knew being 81 was this much fun, I would have got here a lot sooner.
And I bet you would have figured out how. You strike me as
Right,
someone who
exactly. I
could have
didn't know
figured it
this.
out
Right.
before you were
Yeah.
81.
I mean, everything. Business is better. Love is better. Everything. Yeah.
I
It
love
just,
it.
that's why we have so much control of our life around us that we don't
Mm-hmm.
realize. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to work at it. There's no encouragement.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah.
there was no class at Marquette University. How to act like an asshole for popularity.
Well, that's true. But over your life, I'm curious if you were to think back, what's your earliest memory of being creative?
Gosh. I mean, I grew up, we were immigrants. My grandparents were both immigrants, coal miners, came to Pennsylvania to work. I guess I had a personality kind of thing. I wasn't a good student, not a good athlete, not, did nothing that everybody, or even band or
Uh-huh.
could do
Sure.
anything. I was not good. Uh, I don't know, trying to figure out, couldn't get into a good school, couldn't get into grad school, hated school, was on and off probation every semester.
Hmm.
But I worked all the time. I loved working.
Yeah.
Uh, and I remember I wanted to join the army. My father really landed into me on that. So I stayed, struggled through, got a 2.00007
Oh.
GP, and was Vietnam, and the draft was on. I didn't feel comfortable camping in Vietnam in the jungles,
Hmm.
so I joined the Navy, which was clean sheets every night. That
Hmm.
suited me a little better. uh, and that was 3 years, 2 months, 9 days. I never had more responsibility again for the rest of my life. It was
Wow.
incredible. Yeah, 21-year-old kid, just out of college. So they sent me into OCS for 3 months, learning how to drive ships around the sea.
Hmm.
and and I was in Vietnam, the South China Seas, driving around $1 billion ships in the South China Seas as
Hmm.
21, 22-year-old kid. It was amazing. Then I was a diplomatic courier with a gun, traveling around
Yeah.
for 2 years in Northern Europe, with secret pouches and shit like that on commercial airlines. Then I got out of there and I don't know, I was a salesman or some shit like that at first. I
Have
always
had
wanted my own business.
quite the adventure doing all of this.
It, it was never afraid to work.
Hmm.
Always found something for a while. I got sick of it and hated the boss. Yeah, and early I said, oh, God, oh. After a couple of months, I thought my boss was an asshole. And I said, oh, it's better to be in a job where you're the boss and let them waste time telling you an asshole than
There
you
you
wasted your
go.
time. Yeah. I
Yeah.
don't know the creativity. I never, couldn't be a dance or that creativity to me were the arts, and I was never really
Hmm.
good at any of that. Didn't know that there are other ways
Mm.
uh,
Hmm.
to do that. And now it's all about giving. So if you start giving someone and trying, and it's all about
Yeah.
failure. Success is not success. Success is failure, 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 failure.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're on a mission of that's bigger than you, that's
Mm-hmm.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Something has to be. You really want to sing, and people should know that. Well, then, I mean, we're all have to deal with the circumstances we're handed to in life,
Sure.
uh, and you have to do whatever it is to take care of yourself first
Mm-hmm.
before you're going to, throw it all, sell the ranch. And that's important. And then it is to what can you do with with the skills and talent you have to
Mm-hmm.
give as much as possible to the world. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you tap in those skills that you could give harder than anybody else, then
Mm-hmm.
it's no longer work because that's
Mm.
your art.
Yeah. Well,
That's why
tell
you would
us.
sing for nothing, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right,
And
see?
I do. I have. Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about the work that you do. It's your mission is to help people, and
Yes.
you have a very
I
specific
believe.
niche of
Yeah.
help that you
Well, actually,
provide.
it started by helping rich people. So I had an MBA. I
Uh-huh.
was a consultant helping rich in Fortune 500 companies in mergers and acquisitions, buying
Mm,
companies, getting in businesses and everything.
yeah.
I was in Washington and I was doing research. So this is back before computers, even though my MBA was in computers. Um, and I would do research and they want to get money to start this business or find out about a company or an industry. And I was in Washington and they were before the internet. So you went to libraries to find stuff out. And
Mm-hmm.
Washington has more libraries and every department has a huge library just on their subjects. So I do all the research, get all the information for free and also learn about all the money programs because clients say, can you find us money to do this? I go,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, and I
Yeah.
found all these programs, and I had no idea any of this stuff existed.
Yeah.
And I mean, growing up in Wilkesburg, Pennsylvania, I thought the government was the post office and the IRS. That was
Sure.
it.
Fair.
And I see then I see these rich people, I'm showing a money program from the government and making these millionaires into billionaires. I said,
Mm-hmm.
shit, why do the people in Wilkesburg know about that? So that after I did about that 3 or 4 years, it was my first successful business. I wanted to devote my life to showing the average person the government will never get around to doing this.
Mm-hmm.
They create programs, they just stand there on top of each other, and people don't know where they are, how to use them. And
Mm-hmm.
what happens now is we have Google, so people think they can find everything, and it's worse
Ah.
because everything in Google is for you to spend money.
Mm-hmm.
The real good stuff is where they give you money.
This is this is true. Yeah.
Right. So why are you looking in a place for people who want to get your money
Mm-hmm.
for people who want to give you money? And this is how I see our society now. The
Mm-hmm.
yellow is capitalism. Okay, that works pretty well for most of us, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you have money, because everything here you have to pay for.
Right. I'm looking at a
What about
pie
this?
chart just for our listeners.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Thank you. Oh, I forgot the blind people, right?
Yeah. Visually
And so
impaired. Yes.
visually, oh, you young people. Okay. So this is about 60%,
Mm-hmm.
but 40% is government
Mm-hmm.
and nonprofits. Now they're help the community.
Yeah.
Anybody, they don't charge you for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Your house is on fire, they come out and put it out. You don't need a credit card.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what they do.
Yeah.
And so they do that. There's millions and millions of things like that they're doing and don't
Mm-hmm.
charge. But
Yeah.
they don't advertise either. So
Right.
nobody knows. You want to start a business. You want to pay your rent. You can't do that. You want to fix your house. You can't do that. You
Mm-hmm.
want a better job and you can't pay for that. That's what they do. And that's what I'm
Mm-hmm.
trying to train people how to do that. And now I think it's needed even more because America's going to shit.
Uh-huh.
I mean, not so much in the current administration, but in general, for 50 years, here's what's happened. Right? Uh, I usually have an assistant do this. The last 50 years, how income has grown. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
this is the red line is 90% of people.
Yeah.
So 90% of the workers in this country have seen an income increase of only 30% in the last 40 or 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
So the average income grew about 30%. And unless you're in the top group, that it grew about 200%. But for
Right.
90% of it, it only 30%.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem is inflation
Mm-hmm.
grew 300%.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can't afford anything. Nobody has
Right.
money. That's why they're pissed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what even is worse to me, we are now in the developed countries. That's the rich kids in the
Mm-hmm.
world. There's about 30 of them or so. We have more people in poverty than any other developed country.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, how the fuck do they get away with this?
That's a very, very good question.
Yeah.
And I don't have the answer how they get
Yeah.
away
No,
with it, but
neither
I
do I.
imagine that you have
Yeah.
knowledge because of all the research that you've done for
Yeah.
previous
Well,
things.
that I don't know how we're going to change that. I mean, a lot of it
Hmm.
is rigging the system. If the if the country's run by billionaires,
Yeah,
then
it's tricky. This is
so that's a little
true.
harder to help the others. But more importantly, what my mission is to show we have lots of programs already that
Hmm.
people don't know about,
Yeah.
and there's so much out there that
Hmm.
people could take advantage of, improve their life, pay the bills, and everything.
Yeah.
We have philosophy as another thing that people should not use government programs unless you're rich or something. I don't
Mm, hmm.
know.
Hmm. Oh yeah.
This is why all the billionaires are back in town.
My
uh,
goodness.
yeah, and so it's just what's there because I know right now today. You want to do a little internet searching?
Sure.
Okay, go to findhelp.org.
Okay. I'm there.
Okay, put in your zip code.
Okay. Done.
Okay, you see a number in the middle of that page?
Yeah, 2,413 programs.
That's how many free money programs are in your zip code.
Wow.
Right,
Wow.
right.
Okay. There we go.
And look, read across the top that there's
Yeah.
little
There's
tabs.
food, housing, goods, transit, health, money, care, education, work, and legal.
Right. You get free legal
Amazing.
help on anything you want in this country.
Yeah.
But they don't, they don't advertise. If you have a phone, you have a lawyer. Yeah.
Right.
But also,
Fascinating.
there's a little search bar up there
Mm-hmm.
on the right and left-hand side on top. Put in like rent.
Okay. All right. And just here we go.
Yeah,
Finding.
search. How many you find there?
It says 57.
Yeah. So there's 57 government offices, nonprofit organizations that help people with rent. See,
Mm-hmm.
that's another thing I'm trying to educate. It's not people will say, "Oh, I went to Google and I look for rent program and I make too much money." But well, you got just 55 more to look at.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And that's and then also to me, why Google is so bad
Mm.
is people don't know about things like this.
Yeah, it
You
is.
go
It's tricky.
yeah, you go to Google and if you put in rent grant or something like that, you get 200 million records. Now,
Right.
and what are you going to do? Well, you're smart. You start calling some of them, and they all want money from you.
Mm,
Yeah,
yeah.
you found, and then so, oh yeah, I tried, but they all want money, or there wasn't any money left, or they have some reason. But when you're looking in the wrong place, in
Yeah.
other words, if you went to a gay bar looking to pick up a girl versus
You might not find what you're looking for.
exactly
Exactly.
right,
Yeah. Well, thank you
right.
for this little tip. And now all of my listeners can do exactly what I did in their own zip code and see what's available
Exactly.
out there. My goodness,
Yeah,
I love these little tips and tools that
yeah.
it sounds like you have an abundance of.
Well, 50 years of doing this. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's what makes me look smart. That's why I used to do a book every year. I'd work on it for a year. Then I go around the country and do interviews. I go city to
Mm,
city and do 50
yeah.
interviews or something.
Oh my
And
goodness.
you go to Denver and do, a half a dozen interviews, say the same thing, get
Hmm.
on a plane, go to the next one. But the things I do, see, after I wrote a book for a year, I would spend a month figuring out what I would say on a 1 minute interview, a
Ah,
2 minute interview, a 3 minute interview, you
yeah.
know, because on the longer interviews doesn't matter, it'll all come out.
Yeah.
But if somebody's on the noon news and or a
Right.
good morning Denver, you only get 2, 3 minutes.
Yep.
I have to figure out what I'm going to say that I think is the best to sell the book.
Right.
So when I get on there, I know the 5 things I'm going to get across before they, bring out the hook.
Hmm.
Uh, and that's that. So I do a lot of, oh, Lesko, isn't it hard to get a grant? Yes, it is. But did you know you could get a house for $1? Or did you?
Yeah. But here's all
I
the other
find,
ways to go about doing it. I
right,
love
exactly.
that. I
But
mean,
more
so much
importantly,
creativity.
they want to just look smart.
Yeah.
So I help them look smart and say yes to their question. I don't give a shit. But if I say no, then I have to debate
Right. This is
it.
true. This is
Right.
very
And with
true.
only 2 minutes, I can't waste 30 seconds.
Right. You can't debate in 2 minutes.
Right.
That makes so much sense.
Right.
Well, I mean, when for people who are looking to get more help or assistance,
Yes. Okay,
what's
here's the other thing. The last piece
hit me with
or
it?
okay, is the phone.
Yeah.
People don't realize that now. And now it's even more important because there's so much crap out there. You don't know what's right or wrong or whatever. And the salesmen are so good now. They could
Hmm.
sell you anything, anywhere. And you just have to stay away. And like, that's why find help is good because then you call those people,
Mm-hmm.
talk to them about what's best for you. Remember, all these people that work for a nonprofit or government are there to help you. They get
Yeah.
paid to help people.
Hmm.
Okay. Uh, Google gets
Yeah.
paid, to get money from you. Okay.
Right.
So they're just there to help you.
Hmm.
So you call them up and ask them, like one of the rent people, and you say, hey, am I eligible for your program? And they say no. Then what you say, well, then can you suggest other places? See,
Mm.
they're going to know better than anybody else
Yeah.
where to go. Like you, okay. I want to be an Irish folk song singer. Okay, so finding you would be better than folks, Googling Irish folk song singer, right?
This is true. Very
Yeah,
true.
right. So that's what it is. So all of
Hmm.
life is that, and now it's more important
Hmm.
because the people and the internet, they're all there trying to make money.
Yeah.
And maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. You just don't have time to figure that out. You're going to quit before you do.
Right. That is very, very true. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much for sharing all of the information you have and who you are and all of the things that bring love and joy to your life. I have one last question.
Yes.
What does it feel like in your body to be creative?
Oh, shit. Um, Never thought about that, but I think it is. I know I always rebel. Something in me
Mm.
tells me don't do it when it's like everybody else.
Uh-huh.
And also, I feel in me, I never been smart enough for anything. I never been talented enough for anything.
Mm.
And I sort of feel that for me to fit in, I'll never have credentials
Mm.
that will help me succeed in the normal way of
Hmm.
doing things.
Yeah.
Okay. Couldn't get a law degree. I took the LSATs. I got two above plant life or something. It was- so it's really, and the real opportunities in life are when things are different.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so
Yeah.
that's why you have to keep creating that creativity because that's the real opportunity. When
Right.
you see people, things that other people don't see, you can't
Yeah.
see. There's no opportunities in seeing what everybody else sees.
Yeah.
It's not an
This is true.
opportunity,
Yeah.
right? That's not no opportunity. That's doing what the fuck everybody else knows to do. There's no room for you. Get out of
Right. You got
there.
to create your own space, create your own
Right,
room.
exactly.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Matthew, so much for taking the
My
time to chat
pleasure.
with me. If people want to learn more about the work you have out in the world, your books, etc., how could they go about doing that?
Well, actually, yeah, we can't take money anymore. Actually, the accountant said we made too much now, and it's leskohelp.com.
All right.
Leskohelp.com.
Perfect. I'll put that in show notes so people have easy
Okay,
access. And thank you
great.
again for taking the time to chat with me. It has been
My,
such a treat.
my pleasure.
Thanks for listening to the Sustaining Creativity Podcast. We'd love to keep in touch, so follow us on Facebook and Instagram. We are at Sustaining Creativity. Make sure to subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Tag your friends and family so they can listen too. We love to hear from you, so leave your reviews, comments, and questions. Check out our website, sustainingcreativity.com, for upcoming offerings and creativity coaching. Tune in Tuesdays for our next episode. And remember, with creativity, anything's possible.